Hi friends, today in this video we are going to discuss on the topic regulatory framework governing external commercial borrowing. This is the continuation of vlog 6, that is basics of the term ECB. Those who have not watched that video, please watch it first. The details is given in I button. Don't skip this video, watch till end. This is CS Mithun B. Shenoy. You are watching MIBS Gurukul. External commercial borrowing, rather ECB. What is an ECB? ECB means it is a borrowing for commercial purpose received by eligible borrower in India from non-resident eligible lender subject to compliance with various other criteria like all-in cost ceiling, then minimum average maturity period, etc. This concept we had discussed in last video. ECB made it easier for Indian entity to access to foreign capital and meet their needs. So in this video, we are going to discuss on various concepts like who will be eligible borrower, then non-resident eligible lender, what is the maximum limit a borrower can borrow, then what is the expense which a borrower has to be incurred, what is the compliance from the professional perspective like company secretary, chartered accountant, cost accountant, and also it will be helpful for students also. Let's watch. Now let us discuss who is an eligible borrower. List of eligible borrower under earlier master direction was much bigger. Now it is made clear, simple and easier to understand. Borrower under foreign currency denominated ECB will be entities who is eligible to receive FDI under FDI master direction, and specific entities like Port Trust, Special Economic Zone Unit, SIDBI, Exim Bank, etc. So these are the eligible borrower who can borrow foreign currency denominated ECB. Whereas in the case of rupee denominated ECB, borrower will be same as that of borrower who can borrow foreign currency denominated ECB. Not only that, entities engaged in microfinance activities like trust, society, NGO. Please note that microfinance activity means activity which is relating to granting loans and advance to entrepreneurs, small businessmen, startup up to a limit of 1.25 lakhs. So these are the list of eligible borrower. Eligible lender. Let us understand the concept. Eligible lender means entity or person who is resident of FATF or IOSCO complied country. What is FATF? It means Financial Action Task Force. IOSCO means International Organization of Securities Commission. The purpose of these agencies is mainly to combat terrorism and to prevent money laundering. So, to become eligible lender, such entity or person must be a resident of FATF or IOSCO complied country. Eligible lender list also includes multilateral financial institutions like World Bank, Asian Development Bank, European Investment Banks, etc. Multilateral financial institutions are institutions mainly developed by group of countries for financial support and professional advice for countries' development. Second, individual can act as lender. Individual can act as lender only if they are a foreign equity holder. Foreign equity holder means equity holder who is holding a direct investment of 25% in borrowed entity, or indirect investment of 51% or group company of common parent abroad. So individual can act as lender. 3. Foreign subsidiaries or branches of Indian bank can act as a lender for ECB. So these are the total list of lender who can act as lender for ECB. Next criteria we are going to discuss is minimum average maturity period. Minimum average maturity period means period within which ECB has to be repaid. For all ECBs, average maturity period will be 3 years. But for a specific category of ECBs, average maturity period will vary from 1 year to 10 years. So detail list is exhibited in this screen. All-in cost ceiling. Now let us discuss this concept. As we discussed in the definition, borrower has to incur expenses for ECB. So this concept means it includes rate of interest and other expenses. So all-in cost ceiling for all ECB will be benchmark rate plus 450 basis point. Benchmark rate for foreign currency denominated ECB will be 6 months LIBOR. LIBOR means London Interbank Offer Rate. It is a non-profit organization of banks who will offer the rate of interest. Whereas in the case of rupee denominated ECB, it will be based on rate of government security. So all-in cost ceiling for all ECB will be benchmark rate plus 450 basis point spread. Now let us discuss maximum amount of ECB which a borrower can borrow. Maximum limit will be 750 million US dollar or equivalent can be borrowed in a financial year under automatic route. If borrowal exceeding such limit, then you can borrow under approval route. If an entity is borrowing from foreign equity holder, then you have to maintain debt equity ratio of 7:1. Such ratio will not be applicable if borrowal is up to $5 million. So this is the limit. Parking of ECB. Let us understand this concept with wonderful example. If you are riding a car, then there is no issue. If you stop that car, then you should keep that vehicle in a safe custody. Same concept will apply in the case of ECB. If you are using that borrowed amount, then there is no issue. But if you are not using that amount, then you should keep that amount in a safe custody by investing. Parking of ECB shall be applicable only in the case of foreign currency denominated ECB. Till utilization of ECB amount, such fund can be invested in a liquid asset either abroad or in India. If you are investing abroad, then you have three options. Option number one is you can keep that amount as deposit with foreign banks with a minimum credit rating. Or you can invest in treasury bill or monetary asset with maturity period of 1 year with minimum credit rating. Third one, you can keep that amount as deposit with foreign branches of Indian bank. So these are the options for investing in liquid asset abroad. On the other hand, you can repatriate such ECB amount to India and keep that amount with AD category 1 banker with minimum maturity period of 1 year. So these are the various options for parking your ECB amount either abroad or in India. End uses. Let us understand this concept. End uses means purpose for which we can utilize ECB amount. Under earlier master direction, we had list of end uses, that is purpose for which ECB can be utilized, like expansion, modernization, acquisition of capital goods, etc. Now it is made clear that instead of mentioning elaborated list, it has mentioned negative list. Negative list means if anything which is mentioned in negative list, you can't utilize such ECB amount. Except as provided in negative list, you can utilize for any other purpose. Let us study negative list of end uses. It includes 1. Real estate activities, that is construction of building for a commercial purpose. Second one, investing in capital market. Third one, equity investment, like investing in equity shares, etc. Fourth one is a working capital purpose, other than which is mentioned in minimum average maturity provision. General corporate purpose, other than which is mentioned in minimum average maturity provision. Repayment of rupee loan, other than which is mentioned in minimum average maturity provision. On lending to the entities which is engaged in real estate activities or investing in capital market, etc. Other than which is mentioned in minimum average maturity provision. So these are the negative list of end users. Now let us discuss procedural compliance from the professional perspective. In last video we had discussed about various route for borrowing ECB. we have two routes, that is automatic route and second one is approval route. Under approval route, borrower has to get a prior approval from RBI before entering into transaction. Whereas in the case of automatic route, borrower has to report that to the AD category 1 banker and do the procedural compliance. Now let us discuss what are the procedural compliance for borrowing ECB under approval route. First step is borrower has to submit an application which is called Form ECB with the Department of Statistics and Information Management, RBI's Mumbai office. RBI on receipt of such application will look into such proposal from various perspectives like ECB guidelines, provisions, then macroeconomic statistics and merits of ECB proposal. And suppose if ECB proposal exceeding certain limit, then it will forward such application to the empowered committee of RBI, and thereafter such committee will review such application and take the final note. So this is the procedure for getting approval under approval route, and thereafter borrower has to do the reporting requirement. This is the procedure. Now let us discuss what are the reporting requirement under automatic route and as well as approval route. First and foremost step is borrower has to appoint an eligible lender. We discuss about who will be eligible lender somewhere in this video. Second step is borrower has to appoint AD category 1 banker for a reporting requirement. Third one is borrower has to enter into loan agreement with the eligible lender for the purpose of borrowing ECB. This agreement need not be submitted to RBI or AD category 1 banker. Step number 4. Borrower has to submit an application in form ECB to the AD category 1 banker, and banker in turn will submit such form to the RBI Bombay office. Such form has to be submitted in duplicate and must be certified by practicing company secretary and practicing chartered accountant. Earlier we had a form which is called Form 83, and now it is repealed and replaced with a Form ECB. Step number 5. On receipt of application by AD category 1 banker, such banker will review and issue a number which is called loan requisite number, and in short it is called LRN. Once such number is issued, borrower can borrow ECB from eligible lender and meet their requirement. Soon after that, on monthly basis, borrower has to submit a form which is called ECB2 within 7 days from the month end. Such form submission must be continued till ECB has been fully repaid. So this is the reporting requirement under automatic route and as well as approval route. In this video, we discuss about various concepts under ECB master direction, like who will be eligible borrower, who will be non-resident eligible lender, what will be the maximum limit which a borrower can borrow, then all-in cost ceiling limit, end uses which is permitted, reporting requirements, etc. Hope you enjoyed my session. I will be coming out with various videos soon. I request you to subscribe to my channel if not subscribed. Click on bell button so that my video will come as notification, and comment on my video and share among your friends so that this will give motivation to me to do more video. Be happy, be positive. Thank you.